layoffs going on that I'm seeing, like Washington Post, Amazon. I feel like every time I go on LinkedIn, I'm just scrolling through my feed and everybody's losing their jobs. As someone who has been laid off not once, not twice, but 3 times, I wanted to share my experience, not just being laid off, but being laid off as someone who's also single. Losing your job sucks regardless, right? Getting laid off, whether you're married, in a relationship, or single, it sucks across the board. But getting laid off while also being single is just like an inherently like a different type of experience. Something that would really bother me when I was like going through like a layoff is when people in like committed relationships, whether that's marriage or like living with their spouse or even just a relationship in general, when they would say to me, and this has happened many times, they'd be like, oh, I know it sucks, but just like, you know, treat this time for yourself. Like, don't jump right back into work. Like, take some time, sit back, think about what you want to do. You know, don't jump right back into something. Take this like forced time off as like a blessing. And like, no tea, no shade. I know they didn't mean anything by it. They were just trying to be nice. But like, it would just bother me so much because I'm like, first of all, I don't have the privilege to just sit back and just like be like la-di-da. Like, no, I gotta grind. I have to like figure out how I'm going to make money and pay bills because I'm on my own. I don't have like a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend to lean on to help me pay the bills or to get on their health benefits. Like, I don't have that.
And congratulations. What you're going through right now is what men have been having to deal with since the beginning of time, and we've had to navigate that effectively and thoroughly. Right? Now, I will say this. Being laid off sucks, right? Me having worked corporate America, I also have experienced a layoff. The big tech layoffs in 2023, if you were working in corporate America, especially in tech, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Even if you were a top performer such as I was on my team, I still got affected. And I always question what goes into these layoffs. Is there an algorithm? Is it random draw of the hat? Truly, you will never know unless you're in those upper rooms of how they really determine how layoffs are handled. And even if you were in those upper rooms, I'm pretty sure these companies have NDAs to where you're not allowed to even talk about that or you will risk getting a lawsuit. But nonetheless, being laid off is a scary situation. And that's why I always talk about having a 3 to 6 months emergency fund, because it's not a matter of if, it's when it happens. It's when it happens, right? Unless like, it's getting to a point now where even warehouse workers are not even safe. Warehouse workers aren't even safe. Nobody is safe. As technology evolves, they're going to find a way to get you out the door. AI is more cost effective and you don't need as much people as you once did. But regardless of the fact, having a partner, I will say, does help. And I don't even like to use the word partner. It's like, should be your spouse, meaning like your husband or your wife. But nowadays, a lot of people are just boyfriend and girlfriend for years on in situationships, and they never actually evolve into getting married. But again, that's my personal beliefs, not yours. But it could be a lot easier. It could be a lot easier when you have a partner. But again, looking at this from a man's perspective, you know, traditional roles, the man's supposed to provide, the man's supposed to mostly take care of the household, while back in the day, the woman cooked, cleaned, and took care of the kids. Now imagine this has been going on since the beginning of time, as I said, and now women are becoming in an age where they're having a right to choose for themselves. They're fighting for equal rights, and now they're able to be in the same work environments as men. Now they're also going to have to deal with what comes with being in these environments. They're going to have to accept what comes with being in these environments. So with that being said, imagine you being laid off and single. To me, that's easy. You being laid off and single is easy. You don't have a family. It's just, you just got to focus on you and yourself. Imagine a man having a wife, having kids, and he gets laid off. What kind of pressure that would bring? What kind of pressure that would bring? Again, traditional households. Now, if you was in a 50-50 household, then obviously, okay, I can see the benefits of you having a partner. As she say, partner, right? Because at least half of the bills to get paid for, and hopefully you guys were responsible enough to have some type of emergency savings saved up. But on the flip side of that, you know, we all came in this world alone. We're going to go out alone. And ultimately, we have to be able to be self-sufficient on our own without the help of other people. I truly believe that. Everybody should be like that. And And a lot of people don't also know when it comes to unemployment, it's not something that just happens overnight, right? She can apply for unemployment and that might help with a third of her bills, right? Because unemployment wasn't put in place for you to replace your salary. Unemployment was made for you to replace a third of your salary, a little bit of your salary, to help you pay necessity bills such as your mortgage, your rent, your car notes, so you don't completely go into a whirlwind of debt or deferral payments, right? But it takes time to get that unemployment. It takes time, and there is a window. You're not going to be on unemployment forever. A lot of people don't know that, but
hey. Like, you're just forced to figure shit out on your own. Like, of course, like, you know, I'm so grateful for my support of my friends and my family, but it's different, right? Like, that's a different kind of relationship than living with your partner or being married. And people who are in relationships and, you know, they lose their job and they start collecting unemployment, their unemployment checks are going to go much further than mine do. And I remember when I was collecting unemployment, it was like barely covered my rent. Like, it was not enough to live off of. So I had to like figure out other means of income and like pull from my savings like much sooner because I was doing everything, paying for everything on my own. I'm not trying to come across as a hater at all. Trust me. I'm just trying to like explain and remind people that when you lose your job and you're single, it's, again, just inherently a much different experience. Like, not only just from like a financial perspective, but also like emotionally, mentally, like you just don't have that same type of support. And it just makes, like, unemployment and losing your job is a very isolating experience across the board. I feel like even if you're in a relationship, it can just be like a huge hit to your ego and make you feel like you're like not good enough or embarrassing or whatever feelings that come up across the board. But I think when you're single, it's just it's an added layer of that isolating feeling. And even those other feelings of like embarrassment, shame, anxiety, like confusion for what's next, scared for what's ahead, how you're going to pay your bills. All of those feelings are so much denser and heavier when you're single because you don't have the constant support of a partner who, you know, is reminding you of your worth and reminding you that you're going to get through this and, you know, laying in bed next to you at night and telling you that you're more than this. You're more than your job, you're more than whatever. It's just, and I know, again, friends and family are wonderful and I wouldn't be anywhere like without my community, right? But again, navigating these feelings post layoff is just so much, I feel like so much harder as a single person. And another thing that people don't talk about a lot is like navigating the dating world after you've been laid off and you're like unemployed. Like, I remember, you know, going on.
Well, first of all, you shouldn't be dating at all if you don't have the proper finances to sustain yourself. But that's just me.
Unemployed. Like, I remember, you know, going on dates while I was looking for a job. And of course, like one of the first questions that people ask you was like, oh, what do you do for a living? And then you have to be like, oh, I was laid off, I'm unemployed, I'm looking for work, whatever. And if someone said that to me on a date, I would have so much empathy and it like wouldn't even faze me. Like, it wouldn't make me look at them differently. But that's not the case for everyone. Like, I'm sure that there have been people that I've gone out with where I've explained that I'm unemployed and that devalued me in their brain. And that's also something that I would be so hyper aware of and very self-conscious of, which there was no reason for me to be, because if someone's going to look at me differently because I lost my job, then like I don't want to date them anyways. But it's just like an added layer that, again, like I feel like, I don't know, people don't really talk about a lot. Again, I'm not trying to come across as bitter or say like you deserve less empathy if you got laid off but you're in a relationship. I'm just trying to present a personal perspective on navigating a layoff as a single person, because again, it's just different. So if you are watching this and
all right, yeah, we've heard enough. Honestly, that's 6 months, man. It all goes back to that 6 months emergency fund. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. I love you. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.